Blog Talk Radio.
Short. It's a 2-minute song, so yeah. But hey, it works. It works. This is the Retro Renaissance podcast, and we're going to be talking about computer RPGs there, guys. This is Western and East. With me, as always, is my co-host, Brahelia. Tom, how are you?
Howdy doody. Yeah, I'm good.
Good. And with us tonight, special guest, which is kind of an interesting one because he claims to have never played a role-playing game in his life, and that is Mr. Desert Island Games himself, John Latimer. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. It's true. I know absolutely sod all about RPGs.
You must know this. Come on. What's that from?
I recognise that tune, but I can't place it.
Oh Lord. You must have played something. We're going to debunk that theory tonight.
You're probably going to kick me off the show for saying this, but I've never played Final Fantasy in my life.
Uh-oh. Well,
you can be forgiven
I've got
for that.
some spare money. I'm sure I can hire a hitman. Now then. So, John, you host every Monday evening, so tomorrow night, you do Desert Island Games. Do you want to explain a little bit about your show and yourself and your YouTube channel?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is BL Syntax Gaming. I started doing this Desert Island Games back in October, I think. I done a couple on the YouTube channel, and then it went on to the Retro Online from January. And every week I just invite a guest to pick 8 retro games we would take on a Desert Island. And tomorrow's guest is going to be Kit from 7-1.
Oh, the Yankee Doodle.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. Right. Yes. So, and of course, last week or the week before, to celebrate Retromania, we had a Retromania live stream, and you did a video of us all wrestling, I believe.
Yes.
So cool.
It was an idea I had actually a few months ago, and then Stephen, Mr. Unlim, said he was going to do a Retromania special for the better special, so I thought it would be a good thing to tie in, so I just spent 2 weeks of my life doing it.
And it's going well, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to be making some more, so, well, I mean me, but I might have yourself on commentary. You'll come?
Oh, yes, just a little bit of wrestling commentary. By God Almighty.
They killed him! He is broken in half! Oh Lord. That's such a cool idea. I really dig it.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
It's an interesting original idea. People are dying.
So what are we on now, Chris? We're on episode 9.
I think it's episode 9 or episode. I stopped numbering them, which is probably pretty stupid. But
I think we're up to 9. Double figures.
Almost double figures.
Oh, your number 10 is going to have to be a special one.
Yes.
Special one. We'll give away Tom's for the prize.
Oh man. Finally hand over those V plates.
Oh, dear.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh Lord. There is.
Anyway. What have you been playing, Tom, last week?
I've got to be honest, I've been playing nothing but Amstrad games because I've just had shitloads of tapes turning up to my house. It's been great. I sent you that one the other day, the Color of Magic.
Yeah, how is it?
It's amazing. I think it's the first the first Discworld game, to my knowledge. It's a text adventure, but you can turn kind of graphics on and off. So you've got these like really cute 8-bit graphics and stuff. It's really cool. It's just your typical text adventure, but you have to kind of. It's not sort of like a case of go north, go south. You have to kind of say go rimward, go. It's all kind of Discworld terminology and stuff. So it's really fun.
This also came out on the Speccy and the C64.
Yeah, I believe it did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It follows the plot of the book. Obviously, the Colour of Magic, which was the first Discworld one as well.
Yeah, you play as Rincewind again. Cool. So yeah, it's really cool.
It was actually the first Discworld game. Yeah, you're quite right there.
Yeah, there was a complete accidental pickup, which is really cool. I've got a ton of other stuff like Dizzy Ghostbusters 1 for Amstrad, which is a lot like the Speccy version, really. Just loads and loads of crap, really. Actually, I'm going to take a quick look. I told you I picked up Super Gran.
Oh, Super Gran, I love it.
What else we got up here? Hacker 2. If anyone knows the Hacker games, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's tons of crap up here, really. And when I say crap, there is some crap as well, like a Placement Pat and stuff like that. But yeah, I've just been messing around with that Amstrad. It's been great, and the Macintosh as well. But other than that, just not a great deal.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Cool. So lots of Amstrad fun. CPC joy.
Yes.
Awesome. I've been playing a bit of Final Fantasy X HD and a lot of Pokemon Y. A lot. And I've only done the second gym as well. So
how many hours you logged on that bad boy?
Too many. I'm not going to go into specifics, but let's just say it's what I do on my lunch break at work.
It's a total time sink, that game.
It is, but it's good. They always are, man, but they're always good fun. Always good fun.
Definitely.
I always did my classic of starting with a water-based Pokemon, so I had it's now a Frogadier, which is like a kind of juvenile frog, if that makes sense, like anthropomorphic.
Okay.
It's kind of a bit strange.
Cool.
Yeah, no, he's pretty badass. What about you, John? What have you picked up, mate, and what have you been playing this week?
I've picked up, unsurprisingly for me, Football Manager Classic 2014 on the PS Vita.
Okay.
Came out on Friday, so it's the first PS Vita version, and it's got a 3D pitch and all that on it, so it's pretty cool.
Cool.
Very good. Very good. So, and that's what you've been playing as well, presumably.
Well, yeah, since Friday I've not really played much at all. Previously, I've not really the time, but I've been doing that non-stop since Friday.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah.
And are you looking forward to playing in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out for a drink more than actual play.
That's all it is. It's a massive social event.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's a few games there as well, you know.
I'm not going to be down until about 20 to 2, because I get a train at, I think it's 5 to 8 or something, so...
Is that on the Saturday or the Friday?
Saturday morning, yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, we're going up Friday evening.
For dinner.
Oh dear. So, this week we've got, we're going to be talking about CRPGs. Which the C stands for computer, RPG stands for role-playing game. So, mostly PC-based role-playing games. So Western RPGs and Eastern RPGs. Western RPGs went through a really weird stage where they started off really niche, like super niche, with the likes of MUDs and Ultima. Went into like what you'd probably call as the Golden Age. We had stuff like Might and Magic, Heroes of Might and Magic, Wizard's Crown, the Eternal Dagger, Dungeon Master, the Beholder.
Yeah.
I mentioned those in previous ones. Quest for Glory, Betrayal of Krondor, and Lands of Lore. And then a decline where nothing really came into it, and people started to get into FPSs in the mid-90s, adventure games, and they sort of saw a buzz from the Japanese console RPGs, like the Final Fantasy series. And then MMOs, of course, became big. Eventually, there was stuff that came up through the ranks, like Diablo, and then, of course, the Elder Scrolls series came into it. So you had this kind of action RPG type game. So have you ever played Diablo, John? That's a good question for you.
Possibly. I don't recall playing it, but I may have done.
You motherfucker, you're keeping your cards close to your chest.
I don't
just going to try and... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I don't think I've played it. I don't recall playing it. But I've got a bad memory, so I may have done.
We're just going to spend the next hour trying to break you, John.
So there were, at the same time, there were a lot of really good Western RPGs coming out, the likes of Fallout. Sorry, just reading through some notes here. So, Fallout, Baldur's Gate, various Planescape. These are all bringing back good memories.
Oh yeah.
And then from the 2000s onwards, we had the likes of, I think it was Winter Nights from Atari, which we talked about last week.
Yes.
Laura played that. I saw that at the car boot yesterday for £1. It was
nice.
Boxed, but I didn't pick it up. I was like, fuck you, I've got you on him.
Oh yeah. You probably paid less for it on Steam as well.
The Neverwinter Nights actually was interesting because you could play it multiplayer. Somebody could play as the Dungeon Master because it was based on Dungeons and Dragons, so you could have people come in and out. Here's a good one for you, John, that you may have played: Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh man.
Yes. Yeah, I think I've played that.
You motherfucker! You played an RPG. Done. Right.
I think, to be fair, I think I recall playing Eye of the Beholder.
Ah, there you go. Jade Empire.
Oh man.
Mass Effect. Dragon Age Origins. And so forth. And then, of course, you had this weird kind of thing now with Fallout 3, where it merged an FPS and an RPG and worked, which was fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
It works really well. And since then, obviously, you've had Oblivion, Skyrim, all of that kind of jazz. So I think, but Bethesda, who did the Elder Scrolls, they started things off strange because it was a 3D first-person RPG with Daggerfall, which they released way back in 1996.
It was. Did Arena come first? Was it Daggerfall?
Arena came first, but it wasn't anything like that. That was the very first one, but it was nothing like Daggerfall.
It's like Fallout 2 to Fallout 3.
Yeah, exactly that. Completely different. Arena was actually just a fighting simulator where you were in an arena and you had to fight. So it wasn't too RPG to say the least.
Yeah.
Morrowind, of course, huge when it came out on the text box.
That game
spawned 2 sequels, and of course was massive in the computer RPG because here's the thing with computer RPGs on the PC. If you've got them, people will mod them and they will create mission packs, whole expansions in some cases,
Yeah.
New enemies, new weapons, loads of stuff. So, in the meantime, in the East, their golden age was the 1990s to the 2000s. But just before that, you may have heard of Phantasy Star, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, all of these big games. I'm just trying to think now.
So what could we call the first PC RPG? Can we say a Call of Death?
I was going to say Rogue.
Ooh, okay.
Which would always be my first choice of PC RPG.
Right.
Rogue is...
when was this released?
Let's find out. Yeah, let's do a little bit of... and you always hear now about Rogue type games. And
yeah.
Rogue is basically a very basic dungeon crawler, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
That's just Rogue, the video game. Yeah, dungeon... you can play on an ASCII terminal, of course, Rogue.
Oh, snap.
So, 1980.
Okay, I think... ooh, yeah, Call of Death started circulating in 79, so they're about the same sort of time.
Okay. And,
which is a Call of Death being Richard Garriott's prequel to Ultima.
Yes.
Which is a huge PC RPG.
There were text adventures before Rogue, but it was the first sort of graphical one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the first kind of the milestone, if you will. So before that were things like Lost Cave Adventure, which was the text one.
Yeah.
Like, you see a troll, what will you do? Will you A, attack, or R, run, L for left? But yeah, it was really like in colleges in the early 1980s, people would play it on Unix systems because it was just so addictive. And it led to probably one game that I never hear much about, but it's just amazing, and that's called NetHack. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
NetHack
yes.
is probably the most varied RPG experience you can get out of that. It's completely free to download. And basically, huge thing. There's so many variations of stuff you could do. So you could play as like, I don't know, a halfling vampire barbarian, for example, and it could lead to hundreds and hundreds of different variations, and those variations change how you play the game. Since then, there's a thing, I don't know if you've seen this, called Vulture's Eye, which changes NetHack into an isometric view.
Oh.
Very, very cool. So there's one for you, John, to start you off. A game called NetHack.
NetHack.
And it's proper retro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that, it's very awesome.
I will look into it.
Yeah, NetHack is a game that I probably spent too much time in previous jobs playing.
Jobs?
Oh, man.
Because it ran off a single exe file.
Yeah.
So you didn't need to install or anything like that. So, yeah.
What game?
NetHack is an amazing game, but...
That's a good point, actually. You saying about, like, games that you wouldn't need, like, an install for. I'm trying to think of PC games... the earliest PC games I can remember where you would only need to use the disc once. And ironically enough, I remember getting this off of your brother... the first ever PC RPG I ever played, the first Diablo game. You just had to use the disc once, and that was it.
That's right, yeah. And Michael was my brother. He was a huge Diablo online player as well.
Yeah.
He used to play, and I used to argue with him because I'd want to go online and do stuff, and he'd want to play Diablo online, and we only had a 56k modem, and it was you couldn't split that shit up.
No, you could not. Especially when you wanted to take a Kingpin.
That's right. So yeah, it was. He was huge into it. And he used to use the hacks, and then he played Diablo 2. But
man.
He was actually playing MMOs before I was, which is a really interesting story. He used to play these massive grindy MMOs.
I remember playing one with him called Hellbreath back in the day. If anyone remembers Hellbreath.
Yeah, Hellbreath.
That's still going as well.
Game. Is it?
Still going, free to play. You can.
He would love to know that Hellbreath is still.
Yeah. It sounds like we in the morning. Hellbreath.
Was that you this morning after yesterday?
Yeah, definitely.
Hellbreath was never released in Europe, but my brother was playing it somehow. and it was officially launched first in South Korea in 1999, which is when I was about 15. So that makes sense actually.
You know, I think he carried on playing it after it went paid. Like after it went paid to play,
Yeah,
like
you could
carry
play
on.
private servers in 2002, and there was an open beta in 2003.
There used to be. You used to get the two towns, didn't you? And every week they'd meet up in kind of this turf area and just beat the shit out of each other once a week.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, it was great. It's those days, I really do.
Oh dear. So yeah, no, he used to really enjoy it, and I tried playing it, and I was like,
fuck this. I'm not hitting dummies for 16 hours just to level.
The irony was, of course, that eventually I would go on to play World of Warcraft for 8 years.
That's how you met your wife, wasn't it?
That is, yeah, that's how I met my wife. Yeah, very true.
World of what?
World of Wifecraft, yeah. So,
awesome.
So, Japanese RPGs really sort of took off with Final Fantasy VII, which was released on the PlayStation 1. But in Japan, they were big before that, and in America, some of them that had come across, like Chrono Trigger and stuff like that. But in Europe, at least, Final Fantasy VII was the big one. It was the one that really pushed open the market to RPGs and made RPGs cool again. And ever since then, it's never got back to that peak in the Japanese market. You could argue Pokemon, I suppose, as an RPG, but it's very difficult to see it ever getting back to that kind of peak. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, Tom?
I do understand, yeah, definitely. But it was also that kind of it was to do with the time it happened as well. That transitional shift to 32 systems, like games were going on to compact discs. You could put more crap in, like FMVs and like decent music and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the first time that you played Final Fantasy VII, and that train comes along, and then your character jumps out of it, and you're like, what, why, how much hair gel has he got on?
Oh yeah.
So,
totally.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Huge.
It was big. And the ad campaigns running back then were absolutely, like, they spent millions. It was being advertised on, like, Pepsi and
Midgar on the side of a bus.
Yeah. I was reading the other day, it was really funny how many copies got returned because people didn't realise that the game had, quote, reading.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
People didn't realise you had to read.
Yeah, massive as well, wasn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
What happened after that, after I played that game at least, was I then went back and started emulating SNES games.
Yeah.
Like Seikendetsu 3, which had a fan translation, so you had to then watch the ROM to read it.
Yep.
Chrono Trigger.
We should do a Chrono Trigger podcast.
Oh man, you can talk Chrono Trigger for hours. And actually, although I'd played it a little, I actually went back and played Zelda for the first time because of Final Fantasy VII, because I was that hungry for anything RPG-esque. I know Zelda's not an RPG game, but it was still, it was still up there.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you ever play Zelda, John?
Nope. My knowledge, you get all shit.
Football Manager.
I am Football Manager, Championship Manager, point and click adventures.
Okay, well, point and click adventures is interesting because there was some elements, I suppose, of RPGs. So a lot of the like the crazy puzzles that are in point and clicks you often find in RPGs, and the RPGs are primarily consisted of the idea of you take on the role of one person or one group of persons.
Well, I suppose in many ways all games can be RPGs because you play a role. If you're playing FIFA 14, you're playing the part of a football player, so that's role playing.
Exactly, but the idea with an RPG is you progress that character, tell a story with that character. So by that progression, we mean that their gear changes, that their statistics change, and it's something.
It's all about numbers.
Yeah, basically, it's all about numbers and how much gear you need, how many points you need in your strength to be able to hold the next sword. A la how many people you need to kill to be able to get the next gun in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was to me when I saw that the first time. There are levels in a FPS, and you have this to get this. It's like, come on, man, that's an RPG.
Well, I mean, look at I've always said that San Andreas is one of my favourite role-playing games of all time.
Oh, I've played that one, all right.
You know, there's a story, there's a plot, there's a start to finish. You get stats, you can upgrade.
Yeah, you do. The gear's progressive.
But that's just kind of light RPG mechanics thrown in on top. I don't know whether that's just kind of thrown in just it makes it a bit more interesting.
Interestingly enough, though, you're talking about FIFA 14. I know it's completely opposite from RPG, but when you think about it, there's a mode in it called Be a Pro, and you've got to build your player up all the way from a young guy up to an older guy, and your levels progress, and you unlock different items to use and things like that. So, kind of that RPG elements to that, if you like.
Yeah.
So going back to CRPGs, so we talked about the first, which was arguably what was your one called, Tom? Sorry. Carla Bear, the prequel, if you will, to Ultima, Richard Garriott.
It's like Ultima Zero.
Yeah. And mine, which was sorry, I've forgotten that as well now.
Rogue,
the dungeon crawler. Jesus, half a can of beer.
I know. I'll take you anywhere, man.
Anyway, we should talk probably about the influence that Richard Garriott has had on RPGs, particularly computer RPGs.
Well, he is Lord British.
So, Richard Garriott is the mastermind behind the huge sprawling series is the Ultima series. You've heard of Ultima, John, yeah?
Oh yes, I've heard of it. Yep.
So Richard Garriott, he wrote and designed these massive sprawling games. From Ultima, or Ultima 1, I suppose, all the way through to Ultima 9. Is that right? But with
he's just done something else as well, Shroud of the Avatar.
Yeah, Ultima Forever, Quest for the Avatar.
And then there were Ultima Underworld. And there was Ultima
He's been into
Online.
space as well.
He has been into space. And Ultima Online.
Yeah, Ultima Online,
was,
yeah.
The MMOs. But the idea is, and he's always in them, Richard Garriott. He's called Lord British. He's generally like the king or the lord in the particular area who you have to go and seek out, do quests for. And I didn't play Ultima until I think it was actually Ultima 7. I want to say it might have been a little bit before that. Ultima 4, Quest of the Avatar, which I didn't play until much later on, but it was on the PC.
Uh-huh.
And Ultima 8 I then played later on as well, Pagan, which was like an isometric kind of thing. But the models in them and the stuff that was used, I mean, Ultima Online's still going today with fan stuff going on, and he still plays it.
Yeah. He does.
But it really opened up so I could own a bar in Ultima Online and charge people for mead and stuff like that. And if I could hire Tom as security, and if people were rowdy, he would kill them for me, and then take their money.
You're so dorky, but so awesome.
Yeah, it's the ultimate Dungeons & Dragons player's wet dream, basically.
Yeah.
It's hugely huge story. So you always play as the Avatar.
Yeah.
And he is like the guy who, the protagonist, if you will, who has to deal with all the shit that's going on in the world.
No, man, everyone comes to you with problems.
Britannia, who you have to basically save Britannia every time, except in Ultima Online, where you play as somebody else.
Favorite one is to pick one.
Okay.
Which I just brought out on iOS actually for free. You can download it, and it's surprisingly playable.
Quest of the Avatar. So this is the one where, in a kind of scenario, there were like alignments.
There were.
These are based on love, truth, and courage, correct?
Yeah, big moral emphasis to these.
Yeah. So where you see these ideas in Mass Effect of how you act in the game of Vagrant. This was happening in 1985.
I think this one got imported to the Game Boy. If you can find it, it's actually really good, like JRP style. They've completely changed it around. It's surprisingly good.
Correct. So now gone. You can get this on loads of different platforms. In fact, Amiga, Apple II, Atari ST, Commodore 64.
Were you aware of the... Sorry.
That's all right, go on.
Were you aware of the anti-piracy measures on the Atari version? Apparently, one of the floppy disks has got an unformatted track on it, and in its absence, the player would lose on every So, it's a way to stop people from pirating the games.
That's pretty clever.
Okay. It was on the Master System. It's quite hard to get hold of on the Master System.
There's a couple on NES as well.
This was on NES, yeah.
There's a couple on NES. I think I've got maybe 3, 4, and 5. I'm not.
Have a look. So 5 you can get on. Yeah, you can get 5 on those. And it's kind of like top down, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they stuck on Nintendo first. You can't get them on there.
Yeah, 6 on the SNES. And that's where it went.
Wow.
The 16. Yeah. And then I think it has like series of all kinds of stuff. But from 7 onwards, they were just PCs.
Yeah.
DOS, as it were, and they were. They really became geeky at that point. You know, really like super, like fantasy driven. You know, really like in-depth stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You're the hero and you've got to follow on a series. But definitely, Ultima deserves a mention. It's worth looking through. And once I think it's kind of one of those ones you just have to take a stab and pick a game. It doesn't matter which one you pick, and just have a go at it. Because as soon as you had a go on one, you'll want to play the others.
Yeah.
And that's been on the go since 1981, apparently.
Yeah. Well, the one we were talking about just then was the one that it was released in 1980, the Dungeons of Akla. And it's kind of a weird one. Anyway, so Ultima was very big.
Has anybody ever played any of the Baldur's Gate games?
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah.
Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, and these were Dungeons and Dragons games. But in the computer mind, hugely popular. And I think there was even a like hack and slash version of this on the PS2 as well.
Yeah.
Similar to Brotherhood of Steel, the Fallout game.
There's also a really good hack and slash Dungeons and Dragons game on Xbox as well. Do you know the one I mean? So you can have up to 4 players and you literally just run around bashing the crap out of stuff, but it's really fun. Yeah. Maybe. I wish you could get Baldur's Gate mixed with Might and Magic. They're 2 pretty different styles of game, really. Baldur's Gate was everything you did had a dice throw associated with it. So if you tried to charm a snake into being on your team or whatever, then you would have to successfully. You wouldn't see it, but the maths behind it was you had to get like 18 out of it, and based on your stats, it would then affect what you get and how high or low you had to score on the dice roll. And it was all based around the D20 system for Dungeons and Dragons at the time. And the storyline was immense. I remember from the second one, because I played as you had a mentor, and your mentor died, and you had to go off to find the quest and the world from ending. Yeah, that sounds familiar. This big wizard died, and then you had to go off with your best buddy, who was like an ape swordsman, very typical standoffish, neutral good, kind of almost like a paladin type character. And along the way you'd meet an archer, and you'd meet a thief, and and these people would interact with each other. And so the paladin might not like the thief, so you have to be careful. You might get a black magician along the way, and you then have to be careful that those guys didn't like kick off each other thing. They might leave. And you could get was this the game where you could have a pack mule as well? Yeah, and that would take a character slot. So you don't necessarily want a pack mule unless you were laden down with loads of gear. But they would always come. All the characters would come with you to and they'd be at the next inn or whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of a cool game. Baldur's Gate. That was kind of a cool one to play. Yeah. And it was just a fun game, really. Baldur's Gate. I haven't played it in years, and I really should. There's one I always wanted to play, a PC role-playing game called Vampire the Masquerade. Did you ever see that? Yeah. So this was this was based on the pen and paper RPG. Where it was kind of a weird one, because this is the pencil and paper RPG where people tend to get really into it and they dress up a lot. So it was never really my thing, but yeah, very true. But it was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlust, and it was released in 2004, based on White Wolf's Vampire the Masquerade. And this was a game where you had a lot of politics involved in it. Yeah, that's right. You had, and you could choose between first person and third person. So you had to, there were a lot of choices and stuff, a lot of obstacles, puzzles. Probably the best bet. Probably the best way to describe it. Only released on Windows again, so big up there to the PC sort of thing. I meant to ask you, Chris. Were there ever any role-playing games kind of centered around sort of not so much inspired by, because there's plenty inspired by, actually sort of role-playing games centered around Lovecraft?
Yeah, there were. Not necessarily role-playing games, but there was one on the Xbox called The Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, you've mentioned this before. It sounds really cool.
It's like a first-person shooter, but it's not, and it's just really creepy, like super creepy.
Yeah, it sounds really messed up.
So there was I think it's called Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was released on PC and Xbox, and it there's no HUD in it or anything like that, so it's completely immersive, and it's really quite scary actually. It's you have to run through, and it's kind of a bit, I wouldn't say Resident Evil, but like kind of more visceral. So
yeah,
it's a bit different. But it did do other stuff as well, like Alone in the Dark was heavily influenced on it. Eternal Darkness. And there were some funny spin-offs as well. So
yeah.
there was
Alone in the Dark. I have played Alone in the Dark.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing about like the Squid Guy, Cthulhu, and stuff like that, who are just doing stuff, so all that kind of stuff. It was really quite freaky stuff, you know. So, Lovecraft. The funny thing about Lovecraft in his book was that he never actually you never actually saw Cthulhu in there. It was all based around the sort of in your head of what was going on with Lovecraft. So the horror RPG stuff does owe a lot to him, you know. And Stephen King, he's always said that he's the biggest guy, the biggest influence for him is Lovecraft, and how he does that kind of he messes with your head, psychological horror.
Yeah.
And it is genuinely terrifyingly stuff, and it's kind of like people who go mad, and you hear about, in the stories you always hear about people who've gone mad because they've seen this winged thing come from the sea and stuff, but it never actually describes what happens to them.
Yeah.
You're always left wondering.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They broke the fourth wall, of course, and somebody released a platforming game called Cthulhu Saves the World, where you play as Cthulhu and you beat up enemies that come by and stuff. So, but he was on. They put out an indie game called Cthulhu Saves the World Super Hyper Enhanced Championship Edition Alpha Diamond DX Plus Alpha FES HD Premium Enhanced Game of the Year Collection Edition without avatars. So look that up if you can.
Rolls off the tongue.
Absolutely. Which of course is a piss take of Street Fighter.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, Cthulhu was kind of cool, you know, and it did that particular game was I suppose you could call it an RPG because there were elements in there where you did get better statistics and stuff, but it was never really a true RPG. So for me, the best RPG was probably Fallout and Fallout 2.
Oh man,
pure RPG. It's just something I could talk about Fallout and Fallout 2. Not so much Fallout 3 and definitely not New Vegas. But Fallout and Fallout 2 to me were just like amazing, absolutely amazing games, you know. Here you had for ages the RPG market was dominated by these fantasy-driven stories of like, I'm a Grey Knight and I must save the realm from Rara. Well, actually, no. You're a bloke in the future. Nuclear wars happened. Put on this suit and see what happens. And that's the whole premise of Fallout. Go and save our village.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, you know, and the black humor in Fallout is just incredible, you know. So one of the traits that you can get is to cause people messier deaths. So when you kill them, instead of perhaps throwing a spear and it kills them, the spear will go straight through their body and pin their heart to a wall.
Lovely.
Oh man.
Have you ever played the Fallout games, John?
No, but I was just sitting here thinking, and I have played a role-playing game that I remember.
Go on.
It's fairly recent. I've played Fable 2.
Oh, yeah. Molyneux?
I played the. You got a choice to play the guy or the girl. I played girl.
Did you now?
Yeah.
You dirty bastard. And how are your moral choices in Fable 2?
Not very moralistic.
Were you raping and pillaging?
Yes. And I was also doing that in the game.
Hey.
That's what I like.
Love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fable and Fable 2, amazing sort of breakout games. And on the what I'm calling the current resurgence of role-playing games. Just huge, man. You know, the Fable, the moralistic choices again, a la Mass Effect, which always gets the big talk for it. But the thing that got me in Fable is that no matter what you did in the game, you could be as evil as like the very last choice in the game. I'm not going to ruin it. It could change everything.
Yeah.
Fable 2 was a bit better.
I got Fable 2 for free on Xbox because you got it through Xbox Gold.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the kind of better games that they had. Right.
So the other big one that's come out recently, pure RPG, which I've really enjoyed, is Dragon Age. Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age.
Yes. Yeah.
These are huge sort of AAA titles that really, you know, and Skyrim's there as well, but Skyrim was massively over the top, you know, and, you know, Srodar, and I used to be an adventurer like you, to an arrow to the knee. Yeah. these terrible meme creators. I suppose Skyrim's probably bigger than Dragon Age, but for some reason Dragon Age just steps in for the storytelling for me more.
Dragon Age really came out of left field. I'm not too fond of the second one, but the opening section of the first one, like where you're escaping the castle as it's being raided and stuff. Oh man, it looks so good. It's such a cool game.
It's by BioWare as well, so you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the amount of DLC on this stuff, crazy.
Oh man.
Like I think what was it? 1, 2, 3. I'm looking there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different versions. 9 DLCs if you include the expansion pack Awakening for the first one, and 4 for the second.
Not to plug Steam again, but I got everything for the first one, like the Super Ultimate Edition for like £9 or something.
Which has Witch Hunt, Feast Day Gifts and Pranks, Darkspawn Chronicles, Lilinia's Song, The Golems of Ankarak, War's Keep, Return to Ostagar, The Stone Prisoner, and Awakening all in one. Jesus. Huge. Absolutely huge.
I've never got through it all.
But this year, of course, is the third in the series, which is Inquisition. So the setting for Inquisition will be that same world, so in Thedas, and it's going to be more geographic territory. With it's about 4 to 5 times the size of the first game.
Okay.
And it will be more French, which is never a good thing, but more. And a civil war between the loyalists of the ruling empress and a powerful noble faction broke out in Orlais. Simultaneously, the Magi has gone rogue, in part due to the events of Dragon Age 2, and the Templar Order seceded from the Chantry to wage their own civil war on the mages. So there we are. So there's a lot going on, and of course the Grey Wardens will be in there somewhere. You'll probably become one, as is generally the case.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's huge choices again, because it's BioWare. You know, they have to make choices an option. But regardless of Dragon Age, there is a massive hole which we talked about very briefly earlier on. But in CRPGs, it's always there, and it's the MMO. So, MMO.
It's a dirty word.
No, it's not, and it's an acronym. It's massively multiplayer online role-playing game. World of Warcraft is probably the most famous one, without a doubt. Before World of Warcraft, there was EverQuest. Before EverQuest, there was Ultima Online. Before Ultima Online, there were MUDs. Multi-use the dungeons. So MUDs were basically, you would telnet into somebody's game or somebody's server. You would play an MMO on there, and you could save your character on there and come back time and time again, and your statistics were increased. Still going today. There's still a Discworld mod.
Whoa.
Going on out there. Yeah. In fact, I always thought that Discworld would be a great setting for an MMO.
I was about to say, why has there never been a Discworld MMO? And also, why has Discworld 1 and 2 not been ported to iOS yet?
I get the feeling it will be soon.
I hope so. I mean, we've got, like, Monkey Island, Broken Sword, Lure the friggin' Temptress.
Everything, you've got to remember with the Discworld series, everything has to go through Terry Pratchett. He's dying at the minute.
Yeah.
There's
I understand
no
that.
way of saying it. As far as games go, there were, I think, the one that you were talking about earlier. So the Colour of Magic, the Discworld mod, which I just mentioned, Discworld and Discworld 2, and then Discworld Noir there.
Yeah.
And then the Colour of Magic, which you just talked about, is actually available on phones now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I didn't know.
That's awesome.
Was released in... oh, no, it's a different game, sorry.
Oh.
But it's the same title, The Colour of Magic, but it's an isometric action game.
Oh, okay.
Which is...
check it out. Yeah, sounds strange.
So there is a playable Java version of the one that Tom's got as well. The Colour of Magic on c64s.com.
I was playing Discworld 2 yesterday. That game is still so good. The humour in it is...
Missing Presumed.
Yes.
Yeah, very good game. Very good point.
So many fourth wall breaking moments as well. It's just so funny.
I've played Discworld, that's one, but that's more than a point and click, isn't it?
That's right. Discworld 2 is as well, yeah. But
sure.
It's the kind of game which GURPS, which is generic user role-playing system, which the pencil and paper system had an expansion pack so that you could play Discworld RPGs.
Whoa.
On pencil and paper. So the plans are laid, in terms of the maths.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more than doable.
Would you consider Mafia Wars to be an RPG, like on Facebook?
Ooh.
Because I've spent a hell of a lot of time playing that game.
It's the one where you do missions to get money, and then you get over time you get your points back, and then you can take the missions again. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, and you can level up. You can level up a lot as well. I think I got to something crazy like level 120 or something. Give up.
And then you started playing Mafia Wars 2.
Is that kind of where it borders on kind of RPG strategy? Because I remember an older PC game that I used to love called Gangsters. That was kind of the same sort of thing. You know, it was part strategy, part role playing.
Well, of course, in Mafia Wars, you do get better guns and stuff, don't you, John? If I recall. So,
yes.
you get a Tommy gun, and you can put your statistics up, like your accuracy and stuff like that.
And you can progress to different locations as well, so you can go to like.
Yeah, I guess at its heart, it is an RPG. Albeit a very basic one, and what you might call a pay-to-play kind of game, but it's or freemium. Sorry, is the correct term, isn't it?
How many hours have you logged on there?
I wouldn't even want to. I used to play it constantly a few years ago. That's probably the closest I've been to getting into an RPG, even if you can't consider it to be a real RPG or anything.
I would put it closer to an MMO.
Yeah.
Because you can attack other players, can't you?
Yeah. I even had it on my phone as well.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
I think the fundamentals of a role-playing game are there and stuff like that for sure.
I think RPGs were so separate for so long, and then with the likes of, like you were just saying, John, Mafia Wars and other online freemium games, and then COD, FIFA, it's merged into a lot of stuff, and that can only be good for the genre, because for so long RPGs were the dirty little inbred cousin, if you will, of gaming. Nobody wants to know about the betrayal at Krondor and stuff like this, You're fighting what? An orc? A drow elf? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And in fact, of course, just recently on drow elves, South Park, The Stick of Truth.
Yes.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it has definitely taken on people's imagination in the RPG realm. And pokes fun at itself and RPGs and the same thing. So, there's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. Did you ever play the new Diablo? Because I never played anything past 2. I can't bring myself to do it.
Diablo, sorry, say again?
Did you ever play 3? Because I never played past 2. I can't bring myself to do it.
No, I've been through 3 on the first and second difficulty.
Okay.
There's 2 more difficulties past that, and I haven't done those 2 yet.
Is it a good game?
It is a good game. Yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect.
Okay.
So you'd expect massive hack and slash, but it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I've got it on PC. On PS3 it looks good. On PS4 it looks good. I know there's now an expansion out for it, which I'm tempted with.
Ooh. See, I absolutely love the first 2. That's kind of what I cut my teeth on, really.
It was earmarked. People said it was too hard to do the 4th one, and you had to farm for ages to get an upgrade. They got in a lot of trouble because they had an auction house where you could make real money on it.
Yes. I remember this.
And then you could also spend real money on it. So you could kind of pay to play in that element as well.
Pay to win.
Pay to win, yeah. And they got rid of it, and that's fine. And of course they were taking a 10% cut of everything. So you can understand the business logic behind it. But the expansion does look good. I really enjoyed it. I played through it as a monk for the first 2 times, and I think I've got a barbarian who's gone through it once.
Okay.
It's tough, I will say that. Butcher's in it.
Yes.
So, he was a lot of fun to kill all over again.
Oh, yeah. That guy.
But yeah, no, Diablo 3 is well worth a punt if you like that hack and slash type.
I will pick it up one day.
Yeah, man, it's worth it, I don't feel that we've dedicated enough time to the Final Fantasy series as a whole.
You could do it just on that, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, well, at the minute I'm playing through Final Fantasy X. Tom, best thing about Final Fantasy? Chocobos?
The best thing about it?
Chocobos?
Moogle. I read the other day they were actually planning to port Final Fantasy PC at one point, which is like, what? Don't understand that.
It's always lent itself well to consoles, hasn't it, the Final Fantasy series?
Yeah, to consoles, definitely. I mean, 7 and 8 came to PC, and they were fucking terrible. And then they re-released them on Steam, and they're still terrible. So, yeah, I just don't think it's a good place for it. Mind you, Final Fantasy 11, 14 were on PC, but they're MMOs.
Final Fantasy 11, yeah. Just before I started playing World of Warcraft, I played Final Fantasy 11 for a while. I didn't get on with it great. I did get to a certain level. A friend of mine, Chris, he still plays Final Fantasy 11 today.
It was hard to do stuff alone.
You played Final Fantasy 11, didn't you, love? Yeah. What did you think of it?
Right.
That's your review? It was alright?
Was that the online one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was alright.
It wasn't WoW, was it?
No.
There you go. It's quick capsule review.
Yeah, it wasn't World of Warcraft. That's all you need to know about it. And in truth, that is all you need to know about, because World of Warcraft dominated that market. They made it fucking amazing. So well as well. They got people so involved with that game. They opened up I don't know if you know this about World of Warcraft, but they opened up the entire user interface and said, "Here's the code for it. Do what you want."
Wow.
And people made livings off of making modifications for World of Warcraft, like for the user interface. Of course, they wouldn't allow. They would stop any mods which they didn't agree with. Not by taking them down off the sites, because the sites were third party and you could put on any add-on that you wanted, but by then we're figuring out how they were doing it and then blocking that code in a future update.
Yeah.
You had one that would that you could set a flight where you wanted to fly to, like flyer mods, and you could set a point where you wanted it to fly to, and it would tell you how long you could go and for a double whatever while it was flying you.
Yeah. It did spawn one of my favourite South Park episodes ever.
Make Love, Not Warcraft.
Oh, man. So good.
Did you see that one, John?
I think I have seen that one, yeah.
Where they all get fat and it gets carpal tunnel.
Cartman's already fat.
Sorry?
Cartman's already fat.
Yeah, well, you know what, they're all...
Anyway, it's free to play up to level 20 now, isn't it?
Do you know what? I'm tempted, man. I'm tempted to
I have.
To it.
I've gone back.
No. You haven't, have you?
I have, yeah.
Oh,
for a little while.
Oh, God. Tom's gone to the dark side. He's Don't
do it. Amen, Laura.
And there we go. He's not my problem.
Sorry for just leaving you in silence for an hour, John.
No, not at all.
You've been very good, actually. I like the insights tonight. So yes, this has been the Retro Renaissance podcast. I've been Chris Shanks.
I've been Brailia.
And
I've been JL76.
Oh, very much JL76.
Thanks, John.
And we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
Ta-da.
Bye.